Here we are, guys. It's finally time. Oh, I'm ready for it. And I hope you guys are too. This is my top 10 Batman villains. Right, let's start things off then with that iconic number. You know, I always find that number so iconic, but here it is. It's number 10, of course. Ra's al Ghul. That's right, as that voice says, Ra's al Ghul is my pick. Thanks for telling that deep voice. Yes, I picked Ra's al Ghul as my number 10 villain. Why? Because he's a very interesting type of villain to have. Normally, Batman's coming across either with an average criminal crime lord, or some occasions with Killer Croc and others. He's coming across others like, I'm trying to think of them. It's not coming to me now. Like Clayface and Man-Bat and stuff. But with Ra's al Ghul, these two are enemies, but there's respect between the two men. They know each other's identities. Well, Ra's doesn't really have an identity, but they have genuine respect for each other, and Ra's sees him as like a prophecy person. He wants him to take over the League of Assassins. So he's a very interesting type of character, and seeing that the fact that he has the Lazarus Pit, which leads into some good stuff down the road. So he's a very unique character to have in the Batman franchise, and very good, but also very untrustworthy. So, that is why Ra's al Ghul is my number 10 Batman villain. Moving on. That's right. It's time for the next one. That's right. That's right. My number 9 villain is Bane. Now Bane, we all know Bane. He's big, strong, and apparently the loser of the Last Death Battle, spoilers alert. Still, I love Bane. Bane is a good type of villain, because when you see these type of characters, you always think like Hulk or Rhino. They're always the big, strong type, but they do always lack on the brains department. But with Bane, that's different. He, and especially even Juggernaut, I think about it. And now I think about it, Bane's probably the only type of smart one out of the lot. But it's like, Bane is like he's not just on strength, man. He is a strategist. He's like a combat Batman. He was able to figure out and break the Batman's back by releasing all of the supervillains in that iconic issue, Nightfall. So yeah, he's done some pretty gruesome shit. And if he's able to fight characters like Venom and Juggernaut and stuff like that, if he's able to, Juggernaut has faced Bane, and he was able to give him a good run for his money. I'm not going to say who won that fight, but if he's able to fight strong characters up to that level, that must be worth something. So, and the fact that he's a good strategist too, just really adds on to how great Bane is. And the fact that he can have Venom, like the drug, and all the plots you get with the Titan stuff. I mean, how many times has Joker wanted to make an army of Titans in the Arkham games? Or how many times has, in Batman Beyond, they had, the slappers where you put them on and you get more muscular thanks to Bane and stuff. Anyway, sorry about that. Anyway, so Bane is my number pick for number 9 on my top 10 list. Sorry, Raish, but Bane beats the one step ahead in this one. Moving on now to my number, of course, we'll actually do the other thing. My number 8. You ready for it? Here it is. Dum da da. That's right. That's right. It's Clayface. Now, where Clayface is better than Bane, you probably can see why. Physically. This guy has a lot of potential. He's a shape-shifting giant blob. I think Basil Carlo was his name. There's multiple Clayfaces, but the best one has been Basil Carlo. Now, this guy was an actor, and he had some sort of accident with cream or something like that, which molded his body into this big blob of mass. Clayface is one of Batman's exceptional villains, where he's able to fight someone who's able to really put him onto a peak of his own. This guy can shapeshift into any person, and morph his bodies into different weapons. So if you think about it, he could become nearly anyone and blend in pretty well. And the fact that he's able to change shapes and sizes, that he's able to get away or ooze off, and really any of Batman's gadgets can do anything apart from the freeze grenades, or if Batman has ice. Yeah, I think ice is his only weakness, or something like that that's able to hard him like a restraint. But yeah, Clayface is a very hard villain to beat. And every time Batman's fighting him, he's just like, it's kind of like Sandman in a way. And speaking of, we're going to get that soon. In Season 7, I'm told. But yeah, other than that, you can see forward that I think someone asked for like Sandman versus Clayface, and that has been requested quite a bit. But yeah, Clayface is a very interesting character, and the fact that he can morph is a very good exception, which makes him one of the most deadliest and hard-powered characters of Batman's Rogues Gallery, which puts him at my number 8 spot now, I recall. So yeah, that's what leads him to my number 8. You know, but I've always wondered, who do you think could beat him? Well, that would have to be, this number. That's right. That's right. It's TwoFace. Why TwoFace is better than him is pretty easy to understand. He's like a close friend to Bruce Wayne, but he's also tormented by the two sides, heads and tails. Like, whatever that coin lands on, this is one villain who's willing to let you go. Like, one villain who's willing to give you that chance of living. But if that, it all depends on this one coin toss. If that, it's like fate is the coin, and if it's your lucky day, it's kind of like not gonna kill you unless it's the right side. That coin to him is law, so it better be your lucky day, because it's a very tense situation. This guy, he could have like, say, robbed a bank with you prisoner, and you're like the only one there, and everyone else is dead because they got the tails, or say, and you got heads. You were like that close from dying from the hands of this one of this good folk who's become a ruthless crime boss. So yeah, that's how intimidating it is to be when you go onto the wrong coin with TwoFace. So yeah, you can see why he is my number 7 villain. I hope I'm saying this right, because if I've lost my track on counting, then I'm really sucking. Then again, I'll be re-remembered on my list. So yeah, that's what leads them up to my number spot on my list. Let's see, let's retrack. I had Raish, Bane, Clayface. No, this is number 7. Whatever, I'm gonna be checked. So yeah, this is TwoFace's spot on my list. I think I've lost my list. Let's see, jog my memory, what was it? Number 6. Okay, this is number 6. I'm probably gonna get reshuffled with this. Right, number 6. Okay, let's see who is. Can you guess who this one is? It had to be her, didn't it? It had to be. That's right. It's Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy! Why her? Well, men, you know why. Oh, but seriously, no, that's not just the case. Pamela Isley, which is her real name, is an interesting thing. It's like she's like she wants to protect the planet life, not like one of those Captain Planet type villains. Then again, I don't know what Captain Planet, so I don't really know much about it. Also, I like the fact that this drawing has a plant tattoo on her, which is cool. But yeah, unless it's a rose coming off her. But she's a very interesting character because she has a respect for what Gotham is, and likes to like the old ways of Gotham should have been. This beautiful paradise, and she has teamed up with Batman on. That's me, my phone. I need to get sorted. Anyway, so she's a very complex character, and where was I? She was like she's been always trying to prove that plants need to take their spot in the world, but the fact that man is able to club her over, you know where this kind of dialogue is coming from, and the fact that she's trying to do good, she sees a spot, and the fact that they're fighting for Earth rights, like everything they do is merely a means to save their lives of the Plant Kingdom and stuff. So you can understand why what she does. I do. And if you can understand that, well, yeah, I can understand. And the fact that she has the control of nature really has a wide variety of what she could do, because she has control of this entire planet, and if you think about it, and all the life on it. So yeah, there's no escaping this weed in the garden. Moving on. And sorry for my phone.
This was part 1. Want to see the next half of this giant top 10? Well, Garrett will tell you, the link will tell you, and I'll tell you. You go and find part 2. Part 2.
Here we are, guys. It's finally time. For my phone there. Moving on, number 5. Okay, what is number 5? Well, it had to be Mr. Freeze, didn't it? Yes, Mr. Freeze is number 5. It was pretty obvious Mr. Freeze was on this list on one point or another, and you can tell why, because of the animated series who made him such a complex character. You see him struggle, losing his wife, and the fact that his condition has to live in a reanimated suit. There is absolutely... And now he's stuck, trying... He feels tormented, but he's going to keep trying to save Nora's life by keeping her contaminated like Captain America was in ice. Only in this case, it's like the ice is keeping her alive, so as long as she's in that tube, she can live, and until he finds a cure. But he's getting older and older inside that suit, and it's really tormented if you think about it. So eventually he loses his body and stuff, and all this bad drama happens. Every time he gets a chance of redemption, it always comes crash and burn down his face. So you really sympathize with this doctor, and you just want either him to be shot in the face so he can finally rest in peace, or finally have something good in his life happen. But we probably know that's never going to be the case. And that is why Mr. Freeze had to be on this list as one of the greatest and psychological villains of Batman's Rogues Gallery. And we can thank the animated series for that. Moving on. Oh yes. Who do you think my number 4 could be? It's the Joker! That's right. It's the Joker. You are so... Some of you are like, what the hell? Why could the Joker be so low? On 4th, yeah. Come on, 4th is a good spot. Well, there's not much to... I'm not going to go too much on about the Joker, because any reason why he's on here is pretty much has been said in over 10 minutes. But he's a comedian. He has funny lines. In every incarnation of the Joker, he's intimidating, but he can also be the life of the party. And he has this psychological thing against Batman. While Batman is always the black and grey, Joker has all the colour palette on him. but he's evil. Well, not evil, but maniacal, that's what I'm going to go with. And Batman's all by the book. So yeah, you can always see how this little tangle goes on with them. That's how simple I'm going to put it with Joker and Batman's vendetta relationship kind of thing. But the fact that he's able to go, he's willing to go places that he could go. He's willing to tear his own face off just to prove a point and stitch it back on. He's willing to go in The Killing Joke and take Barbara Gordon, shoot her down, Barbara Gordon, and shoot her in the spine, strip her down naked, take her dismangled, limped body from the hospital bed, kidnap Jim Gordon and let him watch pictures on the ride and fuck him up there. There's stuff about his daughter I've only been told. And I think he can do pretty much other psychological, like that one episode in the animated series where he learned that Batman died. Well, not really, but you'll see the episode. Basically, Batman is supposedly dead, and this guy killed him, this pathetic wimp. And Joker gets so pissed that he puts that supposed killer who did it in the coffin and nails it shut and makes a funeral like Batman's wake. It's like he's ruined his life now. It's pretty fucked up. So yeah, you can see that the Joker has to be on this for so many reasons of entertainment, horror, and dread. And speaking of, it's time for our number 3. Horror and dread has its meaning, and that's no better said than Scarecrow. Ah, shit. Sorry about that. Yeah, I fixed it. Anyway, before we moved on, looks like the whole list wants to move on to number 2 already. Well, we'll get to you, number 2. We'll get to you. Number 3 is Scarecrow. Now, as we move on down the list, this is like the main 4 are more personally ones that I can relate with. So that's why they're on here. Number 3, Scarecrow. I can relate with Scarecrow on a physical limit. I'm not that strong or weak. I'm just like an average. I'm more of a stick, if anything. So like the fact that he was bullied on for what he looked like and all that really tormented him up. And he goes and he's able to use fear on his enemies, kind of like what Batman does, where he had to use fear in a way to make his opponents fear him. And Scarecrow kind of likes the fact that Batman's using the fear, so like they're no different. Sorry that I'm tilting the camera a bit, but I'm just trying to get this over and done with. Not that I don't want to film the video, but I've got other stuff to do. Yeah, so Scarecrow, he's got this deformed face. He's kind of like if horror was real, kind of thing. He's got like fear gas. You could say fear gas is a thing, but his appearance, man, that is disturbing. You finally got this Jeepers Creepers type Scarecrow thing coming out on its ooh. He could actually blend in with like a field and pretend to be an actual Scarecrow, and he could jump you there. Jeez. And the fact that I think, and he has Scare Beast, I'm told, another form. Maybe like it's the more you show fear, the more, not like the stronger he gets, more like the more he's taking advantage of it, and the more weaker you are to him. So he picks on that fear. That's how Scarecrow works it up. But he's a very good villain, which leads him to my number 3 on Batman's rogues list for me. So now we can finally move on to the next one, number 2. Who do you think it is? It's him. It had to be Edward Nygma, the Riddler. Like I said, moving on down the edge of this list, you'll notice that most of these villains are mostly relatable to me. And if one of the villains had to be, it had to be the Riddler. His last name is Green. He's kind of like that sleazy man you just want to shut up in the face. I'm not saying bad things about me, but I could see myself playing the Riddler. I really could. Someone who has a fast-speaking mouth who could easily do some quips and stuff. I can really see it. And the fact that he's trying to always prove that he's Batman's superior and he fails every time, it's like, why even bother? So yeah, basically the Riddler knows he can't beat Batman on a physical level. So the only way to outdo him is on a mental level. Because he thinks he's like, the two smartest people in Gotham are him and Bats. You can agree on that or disagree with that if you want, if you think in Gotham that Edward and Batman are the two smartest men in it. You can decide that, Garrett, if you're actually doing a reaction on this. And if you look in the corner, you can't see in this image, but there are some bat gloves in the background, which is cool. And yeah, so, oh my god, Enigma is such a twisted villain, you want to shut up in the face. And the fact, the risks he's willing to go just to prove a point, it's not as much as Joker it would do, but it's just like, you just want him to shut up. And even if he's behind the cell, he'll keep trying to keep going on and on about how he will beat you. He's just such but it's somewhat, to me, it's enjoyable. It's annoying, but it's enjoyable to hear it. Like, haha, beat you all the time. Anyway, I've gone gushing over Riddler enough. It's time to move on to our last and my final villain of the Batman's rogue list. It's time for it. Who do you think it is? Who do you think is my number one favorite Batman villain? Well, that's right. That's it. It's Catwoman. Now, you could argue Catwoman is an anti-hero, but if you see her, I see her so many times on villains lists, on pictures, and like groups of villains. She's always thrown in there too. And the question is, what makes a villain is another question entirely. Well, I'll get to that in a minute, but yeah, she's still on the villains page, so I still count her as a villain as well. And for the record, she even says, like, ally. I call myself your acquaintance. Because, like, the thing that why is Catwoman my favorite villain is that she's the only villain who acts the most human to me. She only does what she wants to do. Whether it's stealing, whether she'll save a life is her choice, whether it's like she'll do whatever she wants because she feels like it. You know when Garrett ever says he feels like he should, in that question like on the first Q&A I sent him, he said, I feel like I want to be the bad guy because you have your own choice and you can do what you want, there are no responsibilities. That's exactly what Selina Kyle is. And the fact that she doesn't take sides, she's not on Scarecrow's team, she's not on Riddler's team, she's not on anyone's team. She goes her own way, and she's putting her life on the line. And the fact is that it comes down to her decision-makings that will actually save Batman at times. So if you could imagine what she had done if she chose the other way. She's a very important character, and she probably knows Batman's identity at some point in the comics. But yeah, and the fact that I have a fascination with cats also adds to her number one spot as well. Yeah. If you remembered what on the second episode of Who and Why, that was, oh yeah, that's why. I've gushed on about it, so that is why I put Catwoman as my number one Batman villain. And yes, you can quote her, she's not really a villain. Well, you can gush over it, because honestly, what makes a villain a villain? Do they have to be evil for the sake of evil? No, the way I see it, a villain is a person who does what they want, who they think is right, kind of thing. Like, for example, Catwoman, she wants to rob stuff because she's trying to survive. Edward Ning was trying to prove himself better than Batman because he feels like that's right. Joker wants to have a friend and likes to fuck up people with. Basil Collar is an actor who never got credit. So everyone has reasons for what they do. And the more human you make them, the more understandable the villain becomes. And that's gone all the way to stretch that Selena Kyle has taken my #1 spot as my greatest and most popular Batman villain. But that's just my opinion, guys. I hope you enjoyed our show and top 10 list. I think it was interesting to do this. I will be doing a Spider-Man one probably later. And the fact that our next Who and Why is Who and Why. Actually, if Garrett's gonna react to this, I'm gonna let him continue us where we're at Who and Why's, and you'll have a nice kicker of what's gonna come, and maybe he'll tell you where we're at and when it's up to date, kind of thing, where he's at with it. Yeah, but I'm gonna end my video here, so Garrett, if he's ever gonna do the reaction to this, he can word you out. And from me and the Batman Rogues, we wish you all a very good, well, where I am, it's night, so a very good night.